Hey everybody, welcome to Bura. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the decision that the court made about the Apple and Epic lawsuit. Alright, welcome back. Before this video, I want to make sure to like, subscribe. The more like subscribers you get, the more content we can make. The number one reason why you subscribe to this amazing YouTube channel is to get in the money-making trends before it goes mainstream. So, there has been a decision on the Epic versus Apple lawsuit. If you don't already know or haven't seen any of the things that I've talked about on this channel, basically what happened is that Epic Games, the creator of Fortnite, sued Apple for being a monopoly, and what they also did was they made sure that they wanted to get Apple to loosen its grip on the App Store. Now guess what? The judge has done exactly that. So what has been decided is that Apple has to release some of its restrictions on the App Store. Now I think this is a really good thing, and I don't exactly know what's going to happen. Nobody does, but I'll be definitely taking a look at it and basically making sure that you're updated as to how it affects you as a developer. So if you don't already know, if you want to make an in-app purchase on an app that's on the App Store, you have to go through Apple's payment system. So what Fortnite did is they made their own payment system instead, and that was a violation of the terms of service of the Apple App Store. So Apple said that this is unacceptable, then they went to court, and now Fortnite can do this, and any other app can do this as well. What you can do is you can point to people to other different kinds of payment services like PayPal or Stripe, and you can have that instead of going through the App Store. So Apple takes 30% and PayPal takes 3%. You can do the math on which one's better. It's completely up to you now. Now, what's also good about this, and what I mentioned in my last video, is that you'll be able to charge cryptocurrency. And I think this is absolutely amazing because not only can you charge in Bitcoin or ETH or Cardano, but if you do that, you can just basically hodl it on your company's balance sheet and you can stake ETH and Cardano. And by doing that, you're actually making a return on your profits. And I think this is absolutely amazing. Personally, in my business, I am trying to take all of my cryptocurrency and just holding it. And anytime I get paid in fiat, I use it to pay either myself, my employees, or any other contractors that I use. This is the best way going forward. I'm gonna make a whole video of that. So make sure that you like and subscribe. This is absolutely amazing, but the judge did hand down a small kind of penalty to Epic. They forced them to pay a small sum of the lost profits to Apple. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, and I think the biggest thing is that what is going to happen with the App Store review process? Well, I think what's gonna happen is that if you have a big app and you're using some kind of third-party system, you're gonna have to pay for the review, and the review is going to be very expensive. So, for many indie game developers, this might not be a good thing. The reason is that going through a review process is stressful enough. Paying for a review process is not very good. Imagine if you could pay someone to point out all of your flaws. I think that's a terrible service, but that's exactly what the App Store could become. Going through the App Store process is exactly that. You're trying to find all the flaws of the game so that it doesn't get on the App Store. And it's really a nerve-wracking experience. Any kind of review process is. Now, having said that, Apple will probably feature people that use their payment system over people that don't. But in the interim, if they don't have a payment system that has anything to do with cryptocurrency, well, then I guess everyone's SOL. Now, again, I think this is probably the best thing. Now, if you have a really good game, you can just make it free and have your in-app purchases on PayPal. That's a lot better. If it's really good, it should rise up to the top no matter what. Now, of course, Apple could tweak the algorithms of their search. And this is something that I could talk about in multiple videos, is that search algorithms should at least be somewhat publishable and somewhat public. How does someone get to the top of any search engine? Well, you have to figure out a clear and transparent way. It can't just be a hand-picked thing from the site itself. Now, of course, everyone's at the mercy of search engine optimization, but at the same time though, if you do have a good game and people talk about it, which is very key, then it will be good. Now, what I really like about this is if you have a software as a service and you want to make a native mobile app for the iPhone, you can now do this with your own payment processor. So companies like Netflix really went out. What they can do is they can point users to their own website, they can charge on their own payment processing, and then they can allow people to do it on the iPhone. Now, of course, this is really good because I bet you will see a lot more VC investment into iPhone apps, because over the last few years, most companies have been just going to the web because they don't want to pay the Apple tax. Well, guess what? Now you don't have to. You can basically basically make a web app, and you can make a mobile app for iOS. And what you can do is you can charge for that iOS app in a different payment processor. So again, one of the best places to start to learn to code is, believe it or not, becoming an iOS developer. The iOS ecosystem is actually really friendly, and I personally like it. And Swift is by far my favorite language. So if you're really into learning to code, you can just learn iOS development. Like I said, I bet you will see a lot more VC investment into the App Store now, and specifically App Store development, just because of this simple change. And again, I think this is really good. Now, Apple needed to be taken down a little bit of a peg. Now, I really do like Apple. I love their products. This is being filmed on an iPhone, but these are one of the two things that I think Apple needed to just have a little bit of a check. The first was the monopoly on the App Store payment. The second is the right to repair. Now, I think the right to repair movement is going to hit Apple hard again, and I think that it's going to be a good thing. And the number one reason I support both of these is simply competition. Competition makes things cheaper, it makes things better. I need to be able to take my iPhone or my MacBook Pro into any shop and swap it out with any kind of part that I want. Now, if I can do this, I think the service will be better at the independent repair places, and I think it'll be better at Apple. In fact, I would still probably take it to Apple if the prices weren't ridiculous. Now, I can pay up to 60% less if I go to an independent repair store, and I think this would be really good not only for the entire industry, but I think it would be good for Apple as well, because Apple will now need to provide better products. Now, of course, why is Apple fighting this tooth and nail? It's because they're a publicly traded company that offers dividends. They have to keep the profits flowing, or else, well, none of this is possible. But I think that perhaps Apple maybe overreached just a little bit on these two areas, and if they just get taken back a bit, I think Apple will still be the best product to buy. In fact, whenever someone asks me if they should buy an Apple product like an iPhone if they want to switch, I would say absolutely yes. I think it's a much easier system. In fact, I spend more time on my Mac than my PC for development, and that's basically it. But the story actually gets a little bit deeper here. Now, this news came out on Friday, and today Epic has just filed an appeal for the monopoly part of the lawsuit. Now, I think everyone can agree Epic practically won this lawsuit for everybody, but now that they're going to appeal this monopolistic part of the lawsuit, which is what the judge technically struck down. So what the judge technically said is that the App Store could not prevent people from getting their own payment platform, but at the same time, Apple's App Store was not a monopoly. So what Epic is doing is they're saying that Apple is still a monopoly, because you know what is not in this verdict here is that I cannot sideload my apps onto the iPhone. That is something that's a little bit different. Now, I've talked about the pros and cons of this, and I'm actually quite split on this, because going through the App Store makes your apps really safe. If I start sideloading random apps, well, guess what? There's gonna be malware on my phone, and I really don't want that. I really don't want to have to get some kind of Mac Defender or Norton on my iPhone. I really like my iPhone and iPad because they're so safe. So having apps being sideloaded might make things not very good. And this is something I actually happen to agree with Apple on it. Now, if people can just charge whatever they want, and I have to go through the Apple App Store, I think that's a perfect medium here. Having said that, though, it does kind of contradict the idea of, is this your device or not? Because if your iPhone is actually your device, you can sideload any app that you want onto your iPhone. And while I think that is something that perhaps could be done, again, if things go through the App Store, well then guess what? Now, this is of course something that can be done, but if things go through the App Store, I think the whole ecosystem might be just a little bit better. But then again, I do have this issue on my Mac, and I never really have a virus on my Mac because I'm safe about it. But as we know, there will be viruses, and there will be people that will install viruses if we can sideload apps onto the App Store. Now, of course, what Apple can do is they can make their own antivirus for the iPhone, but again, that's just gonna complicate things, and you know what? It will probably make iPhones more expensive. So if we allow people to sideload their apps onto the App Store, well then guess what? I think iPhones are probably gonna cost a little bit more. Not too much more, just enough to be a little bit more that people are going to pay it, but not too much that sales are going to go down. So should people be allowed to sideload their apps onto the App Store? Well, we'll see. I'm not quite sold on this particular problem yet. So Epic is still fighting this, and I'm not sure if they're going to win or not. But nevertheless, I think this is a really good day, not only for developers, but for tech in general. And the next thing I'm looking at is the right to repair. All right, so that concludes this video. I want to know your thoughts down below. Is Apple in the right or is Epic in the right here? Would you pay for an app in cryptocurrency or an in-app purchase in cryptocurrency? And do you like the idea of multiple payment processors for in-app purchases? Again, I want to know your thoughts down below. Remember that this channel didn't do Patreon, said we sell our digital products down below. The more we get with the content you buy below, the more free content on this channel we can make. If you really like this channel, you can subscribe to Mammoth Interactive's huge library of content. We release 20-60 hours of fresh new content per month every single month. It really does help us out when you subscribe to Mammoth Interactive. We have monthly and yearly options. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. Not only do you make this YouTube channel possible, but you make my company possible. If we get to 10,000 paid subscribers on Mammoth Interactive, we can release 200 to 300 hours of fresh new content per month every single month. Plus, we'll make a ton of really awesome ed tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.